Welcome to day 2 of the review of a 3-day hiking trip into the Grand Canyon. To begin day 2, each of us awoke from our respective places on the ground, myself in the blue sleeping bag.
Morning everybody, this is Nick again, and this is the beginning of our second day. I actually slept quite well on the ground last night. Woke up this morning to bats circling overhead, and in fact some of them still are right now while I'm recording this video. Still hear the sound of Bright Angel Creek rushing in the background. People are starting to get up and stir around here in the bottom of the Grand Canyon at Phantom Ranch. And our guide told us that we'll hike approximately 7.5 miles again today, and that will take us about halfway up the trail, up the Bright Angel Trail out of the canyon today. We won't actually go all the way out of the canyon today. We'll complete our third and final day, which will take us back to the top of the South Rim on Thursday. So just wanted to check in and show everybody that I'm alive and you can sleep quite comfortably on the ground underneath the stars. It was beautiful last night. It was so beautiful, and in fact I didn't want to go to sleep. I just wanted to lay and look at the stars. And the birds are chirping some now in the background. That actually had just started within the past 20 to 30 minutes, so that's how I knew when it was time to get up.
This is the view looking back towards the south side of the Grand Canyon the morning of our second day. And as we prepared our morning coffee, there were deer that passed by the edge of our campsite. This is a vintage telephone pole from the days of Theodore Roosevelt, and the National Park Service has left these telephone poles in the bottom of the Grand Canyon for campers to hang their gear on to keep the squirrels out. And after we broke our campsite, we headed for the Silver Bridge, which is one of the 2 suspension bridges across the bottom of the Grand Canyon over the Colorado River. And as you'll notice there looking down, the floor of this bridge is made of great metal, so you can see through the bottom of it. And for that reason, you will never see a mule cross the Silver Bridge because it has the appearance of having no bottom. You'll also notice that it's not that wide. It's just a little beyond the width of a grown man's shoulders. And having reached the end of the Silver Bridge, we took a right and continued our day hike up the Bright Angel Trail. Now, continuing up the lower portion of the Bright Angel Trail, we went through a section called the Devil's Corkscrew, which you see pictured there in the background. And having completed the corkscrew, we topped a ridge which looked down on this waterfall. And while crawling down to the waterfall, I encountered some wildlife along the way. Now, this dragonfly I discovered by accident as I almost stepped on it. Continuing further still up the Bright Angel Trail, we entered a portion of the canyon known as Indian Gardens. Now, Indian Gardens was first discovered by and used for agricultural reasons by Native Americans. There's a perpetual spring that flows in the area in this portion of the canyon. Of course, the excess of water, even just the presence of water, allows for an abundance of plant life as well as wildlife. And there's even a sign down there that refers to Indian Gardens as an oasis hidden in the canyon. As you can tell here, I'm walking under a canopy of trees in the shade along a lush path. And this trail will go up and turn back to the left, which leads to our campsite. And all of this seemed extremely out of place, especially with all the rocks and the dry heat and everything in the bottom of the canyon. And finally, upon reaching our campsite, we called it a day and enjoyed food and drinks to get us rehydrated. And then fell asleep to this sound, the end of the second day. Our guide called these bighorn sheep frogs.